Long days, longer nights, you feel? Now, I don't even know lately. Take it, go. It's too much. Whoa. I'ma do it anyway. Put him in the dirt, say it again, man, and that's a reverse. Never rehearse, jumping in first. Call up the nurse, put the beat in the hearse. This is absurd, came to berserk. Don't get on the tracks, man, and they better swerve. Don't got a nerve, man, I never curse. Just casting these spells when I'm spelling these words. That's real, that's too real. I've been Roosevelt, I need a new deal. Trying to figure out what I should do still. I'm really never waiting here too still. I don't even know what I should say at all. Should I jump on in? Should I get involved? God surround me, they love to talk. I take it all with a grain of salt. This work that I'm doing, they never see through it. And all of this rap that I see that they ruin. I came in the game and I'm trying to undo it. And still they all say they don't know if to shoot it. I gotta see through it, man, won't be deluded with all these illusions. I know it's disputed, I gotta keep growing. They see what my root is. I tell you I run this, I'm done with excuses. Give me for a minute, trying to get what I've been giving out. Do it for the tickets, I don't listen to the critics. I'ma push them to the limit. And these rappers getting timid. I've been balling like a pivot. I don't step into the scrimmage, I just play 'em when I'm in it. Trying to run it till the ribbon. And they know that I've been tripping when I make them see the vision. Man, I put them in the prison with these bars that I've been spitting. And this life that I've been living, I'ma go, I'm on a mission.
Take two for the drop, jaw plotting on the bar. See me putting in the work, whole milk, I don't do the soy. Always been about my king, never about the money. Now you know I'ma drop before I stop the grind. I'ma drop before I stop the grind. I'ma drop before I stop the grind. Said I got my eyes on.
I just did a 24 song in a bitch, in a building, they already know my name. At the show, she gon' want a picture, she get hang. Just to tell a friend, oh be there. I shoot my shot with this gold on my wrist while we throwing the parties, they throwing the fit. Girl finesse can spot me a sucker, a lot of you really is holding the lick. All of my homies legit, really is shit. I probably throw in my clip. I sell a boat to a fish. I sell a record, you know it's a hit. They see the effort I put in this music, and I ain't been giving no favors at all. All of this chef and I got in the shop, and I think that I probably could cater them all. I love the way that she answered the phone. I know that she ain't expect me to call. I got my eyes on you, my eyes on you, yeah.
Take two for the drop, jaw plotting on the bar. See me putting in the work, whole milk, I don't do the soy. Always been about my king, never about the money. Now you know I'ma drop before I stop the grind. I'ma drop before I stop the grind. I'ma drop before I stop the grind. Said I got my eyes on. My eyes on.
Yeah, I think they gon' need a minute. Shot and got them people back up in their feelings. When they told me I was finished, by the mother in it, nothing out the building. Yeah, no Victor co-defendant, even Nike witness. We the next to kill it, show them the king how they living. Pictures so good, but not looking for business. They be stepping in from the back door. If they see you independent, then they pop jokes. That fear to the blows, boy James Burke. Side stepping on the shade, see the footwork. I'm tryna be about this business, but still they want me in the kitchen with the bacon soda whipping. The thought of Lewis so offensive, cause my guy, he gave his body just to pull me out the trenches. Hold up, wait. If I never see a million or the recognition, but I see the finish. Look, like the greatest when they losing, gotta keep on shooting even when you're missing. Yeah, now focus on the past while living for the day was never recommended. Reppin' VA, Tony Bennett, his kingdom can never be bought, cause it's given and I live that.
that way.
Always been that way?
Yeah. Dodge ducked Bondurant tomorrow night, too. We're supposed to wrestle up in Dodge. Just looking forward to it, and they canceled that. So
Dodge ducked?
Well, they canceled the duel. So
I think everyone's really canceling stuff.
So I texted Drew, and I said, man, I can't believe you guys are dodging Bondurant.
Oh, crap. Our sound wasn't live. We're good to go now.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, we're good to go now.
Oh, good job, producer.
Yeah, producer's non-existent, so
what's up? Some good wrestling?
Yeah, so we're mid-season, I guess you could say. It feels like, obviously, now where people are starting to figure out, like, 2-point weight allowance.
They get 2 pounds now?
They get 2 pounds after Christmas. And, talking with coaches, there's not a ton of people that will be changing weights after. Like, I feel like there used to be that used to just be a thing. Like,
what do you mean? Going down?
You would make weight, like, for a duel to certify, and then you would wrestle up a weight up until, Christmas. Like, you would certify ahead of Christmas.
Oh.
After Christmas comes, then you go back down, so you get your you get those 2 pounds.
Well, if you time it right with the schedule, like Donnybrook was +1 to start with, because there's guys that wrestled the duel before, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a program, like, from the outside in, even from the kid. Like, I just see a lot right now. It's not just wrestling, but and you're saying maybe that's the times, but the kids call the shots. Like, oh, this week I'm going to wrestle this week I'm going to wrestle. I'm like, in order for your team to have any cohesion and rhythm and try to get, everybody, just like in college, everybody says in high school wrestling, we'll just wait till February. Well, you're 6 weeks from the state tournament right now. It's not like all of a sudden you're just going to have a magic wand, because between now and, the first competition back after break, Christmas, New Year's break, if you don't have whatever's problems in your program or guys in the right, it's really a good training phase probably. If you're not hitting the ground with all cylinders firing after break, you're done.
I mean,
you're done. Like, you're not gonna like all of a sudden. You might have your best performance in the state tournament, but as far as like a team race, right? Like, whatever things you have going on in your team, guys here, guys not here, hurt, injuries, peaking, whatever it is. If you're not first competition back in January, there's not like a magic switch you're just gonna hit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, I mean the tournaments last month. December, they're the toughest ones of the year.
You think? Yep.
Up until obviously districts and state, but like
Ed Winger's pretty tough.
Ed Winger's very tough this year. Bettendorf's there, Waverly Shell Rock, Southeast Polk.
Oh, they're all there?
Yeah, it's insane, right? It's
Polk won Johnson
insane.
Easy.
The Johnson one was freaking a grinder too, but the Ed Winger will be absolutely insane.
So it went Southeast Polk, Johnson, and Ankeny, and then Waverly Shell Rock at Johnson tournament, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Waverly Shell Rock's they're banged up right now. They're have wrestlers outside the lineup that sounds like they're going to be in the second half. I mean, Southeast Polk, obviously, no Nate Jessaroga. We don't know if Nate's coming back. Obviously, reports out with that now. Pat Menio putting stuff
That's
out there.
That's not a report, but yeah,
it's a tweet. We obviously,
I'm not talking about it.
We have Nate number 1 right now in our rankings. So,
but Nate wasn't at Urbandale anyways, and they still won.
Yeah. So Southeast Polk and Waverly are great with not being at full strength.
Bettendorf and Southeast Polk, I didn't see it. But it sounds like it came down to the last match on the Red Owens, and Southeast Polk got a fall. The guy was losing the match or something, came back, got a fall in that match. So, I mean, I told you 2 years ago Bettendorf was going to be coming. I mean, you had Jake and, hit that class.
Trevino.
Coach Knight's done, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. They fell off, right? Like around the stroker, Glenn.
They fell off because how high they were,
Paul, and like they were just dominating. And all of a sudden there was like, it just shows how hard it is to just always be at the top, right? So they fell off haven't been towards the top in contention for duels individual state tournament for a while.
They've been in the state duels the last X amount of years. As far as like top 2 or 3, no.
Yeah, they haven't
They've
been
had state champs,
yeah.
and they've had individual, but across
Correct.
the board.
Yeah. They are now in consideration for, contending for state titles again, and then they are going to be for a while. Right? Like you said, their youth program
They're just going to get better. I mean, I've said this before, and I know it's like I've never done the position, but winning in high school athletics, like the formula to win, isn't hard. Like on a piece of paper. The work that goes into it's extremely hard. Right? You can't, in my opinion, you can't just show up those 12 weeks of the year and not be involved at the youth level and have a set of accountability and standards that kids understand to be part of this program when I get to high school, right? You start operating that at 5th, 6th grade. So the youth program coming up, 7th, 8th, middle school, same thing. So when you're hitting high school, it's not like this whole retraining phase. And the programs that do that, especially in wrestling, they're the ones that win.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is like, like Fort Dodge for however many years had 4 or 5 guys they always had 5 guys that were top 3. I mean, like Lara's and Teskey and Drake's freshman year and Ben and all those, Sam Cook, but they didn't. So you had 5 good guys, but in high school, the high school state tournament, it takes a team.
Yep.
I mean, you really see that, like
especially at the 3A level.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys that you've never heard of coming through for Polk and Shell Rock over the last couple of years. It's not been the stars. The stars kind of cancel each other out. It's always the fringe guys.
Yep.
Right. So those guys that are coming to the program that aren't maybe, quote unquote blue chippers or whatever else, those guys make the difference. Well, how do you get guys to buy in? Because they're part of something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, 3A definitely right now. Your whole team's got to be solid. Like if there's a couple weak weights, you're in trouble. 2A and 1A I think is different though. Like you can have 3 studs.
We're talking dual or tournament.
Tournament, single tournament, and individual tournament.
And it's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of washouts. So the state tournament format this year is going to be like Wisconsin though. You got to like the first round, like the top seeded guys get set, and some guys have to wrestle into the tournament, right?
Yes.
I don't know the ins and outs. So, depending on who matches up to just wrestle in, there's going to be some. Especially, you got to remember a lot of these freshmen aren't going to be able to get seeded because they don't have the criteria.
Yep, and that part of me understands that. I mean, with the whole seeding criteria, how do you what tournaments do you base it off of? But to me, that's on the coach. That's on the coach to make sure that your freshmen have quality wins. Well, if they don't have the opportunities to wrestle quality wins, then
I won't say quality wins has the opportunities. Like knowing that you have to have head to head, you have to have somebody that's qualified for the tournament in your weight class.
Yeah,
at the same class. Yeah, you're gonna chase losses, or it's gonna be a meaty schedule. But even your guys that aren't freshmen, if they weren't placed winners the year before or whatever the criteria goes into, you don't give yourself really a great chance to be placed well in the bracket. Doesn't mean you can't still perform well.
Yeah, your schedule I think is got to be more thought out than ever before now because of the seeding criteria. Before, you could just create a schedule and it was, maybe want to go easy in, hard out, or hard in, easy out into the districts. But now it's really you got to go where the competition's at if you want to be considered thinking about
in your class.
In your class, yes. 3A versus 1A really doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. So
like Tucker Stengel beating Boz Diaz last week, that doesn't do any good.
No. I mean, huge win.
Yeah.
That they don't really. I don't think, from my understanding, that those don't do.
No,
they
have to be in the same class.
Yeah, they don't do a whole lot.
And you have to. And if that guy would place last year, or whatever, it doesn't matter until it is.
I don't think that matters. Really
Osage's had a good showing. I watched a lot of those matches at Battle of Waterloo. Looked like a great tournament.
Yeah, Battle of Waterloo is.
A lot of matches. How many matches you get?
I feel like it's a sneaky
6.
It's a sneaky event. Okay, for the first day you get 3, and then the next day you get 3.
So how many is that, Tony?
6.
Okay, that's good. Good mat time.
And then the teams that aren't in that contention for the championship pool, they get to come back and they wrestle Saturday morning and stuff, and they cross bracket with teams that aren't as good, too. So they're all usually competitive duels when it gets to Sunday. I feel like. Whether you're down here or up here, they're all competitive duels. But
what was your biggest takeaway from that tournament?
Biggest takeaway from Battle of Waterloo is Ankeny. I think Ankeny has a very solid team. They are they're a team that is dangerous. Like they had a ton of pins, and I don't know if that's just because it just happened to be all in the same, like certain situations, like they were in pinning, combinations, or if they just, they're stressing like bonus points are super important when we can get them. Should be any kind of duel, bonus points are super important. But Ankeny balled out, dude. I think they legit, like they had Ankeny Centennial on Thursday, I believe. Beat them, so came into Friday like a ton of confidence.
7 matches in a row, matches in 2 days. I don't understand some of the scheduling by some of these coaches, honestly, though. I mean, I'm not saying that against Ankeny, but I'm just saying, like, you have a duel on Thursday, okay, you wait in, then you're going to leave the duel to drive over to maybe they had the night, but still you're doing back-to-back. It's actually 3 days in a row wins. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a good prep for state tournament. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, you see that across the board, too. I mean, sometimes the ADs...
So the ADs do scheduling?
ADs, and I mean, it depends on how, I guess, intertwined the coaches are with the ADs. So, like, sometimes, like, events just get scheduled, and you're just like, that makes zero sense. Like, but it just is what it is, right? So, I mean, I think the coaches that have been there for a long time they know exactly why they want to do certain things, and you have to work with other school, within your conference to do that stuff.
So Osage, they're the front runners the whole time in 2A anyways?
Yeah. Osage is, right now they're projected to have 60 to 70 more points than anybody else in 2A.
So they listen to good L shit then, is what you're telling me?
Yep, pretty much.
So you're telling me that Osage kids are gonna get some coverage this year since they're gonna win.
Yep.
So
we're finally gonna cover.
Good, I won't be crying.
Yes, plenty of Osage coverage this weekend.
I mean, that's to beat Shell Rock that's a big win.
Yeah.
2A versus 3A, honestly.
Yep.
I thought
it's the first time Osage has been in the championship pool too, which was crazy.
I thought, and this wasn't Shares talking either. I thought Bosco, good on Bosco to be there and schedule that. I mean, just the disparity, just from a depth standpoint, I think of Stars talking 1A to 3A, just the quantity, right, of 13 or 14 good, solid versus they may have 7. But I thought maybe they got slided a little bit to drop in the rankings. As much dominance as they've had as a team.
Yeah.
I always question. I'm not saying this as a slight to you, but I always question rankings a lot of times guys that in teams that compete and put on the line a lot, they get dinged more for wrestling. So you talk about like why this guy's sitting out or dodging a move, like from a ranking standpoint, which shouldn't be the only sole driver. At the end, it doesn't really matter. You have to still wrestle. I think people that compete more often than not that put on the line get dinged for losses than actually given a little leeway based on just actually facing competition.
Yeah. So I think I look at it as, okay, are you looking at the rankings as these are projected finishes in February, or are these actual rankings how they sit right now? So our rankers try to base it off of what would happen right now, right? And so we really struggle when kids are just not wrestling. Like the coach says, "Oh, he'll be here next week. He'll be here next week." Well, we know they're really good, so we keep them in. And so sometimes you'll see kids that we just won't have in the rankings that really should be there, but they're not competing. So
let me ask.
So like as Osage, okay. So example, right, is or Don Bosco. Thierry lost 3 times this weekend.
Who?
Jared, he lost 3 times, I believe, this weekend, and he's still number 1. So,
220 was a good weight.
It's just a.
He lost to I see him lose to the Osage guy.
Yeah, Wilton's just got a lot of freaking good. They got 11 ranked wrestlers. So, if you're new to the rankings and looking at the rankings, the tournament rankings are just solely based off of 1 through 12 placement points off the state wrestling tournament.
So that is projecting though, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
We are ranking the kids based off how they're wrestling right now, how we think they would finish if the tournament was tomorrow. And the placement points is just based off of 1, 2, 3. They get a certain amount of points. There's no bonus, whatever. So the tournament team rankings are non-subjective, but they are based off of like individual weight classes, right? but people don't understand that. So our dual team rankings, Bosco's still number one because they have just a solid team. But individual wise, we now have Wilton having higher finishers.
Well, that's good. Wilton's got a good tradition as a program traditionally. I mean, team races are good.
And they didn't come out of anywhere. Like, Wilton's was number 3 last week.
I didn't say
2 weeks ago.
They did come out of anywhere.
But it's crazy to see not have Don Bosco at the top, right? I mean, Lisbon is really struggling right now. They got a lot of kids hurt. They got kids that just don't want to wrestle. I'm hearing this kind of across the state, and like you said, like kids picking and choosing when they want to wrestle. Like, is that just the times we're living in right now? Where
no, it's nuts.
It's
because let me put that scenario for you, okay? How do I not like make it like so if you're a coach, right, and you have or any program and you have this set of standards of what the expectations are and you know what you're supposed to get for grades and you know show up to practice, all the team rules basically, right? And you got this individual or individuals that historically are high performers, okay, on a team, do well, and one of them says, you know, oh, I just don't like feel like making weight, or the guy's not, you know, I'll wrestle, but I'm gonna bump up, or this guy's not very good. It's not, you know, not worth my time. Whatever you want to enter, right? So that one individual starts calling the shots, but you have a whole team over here that you have expectations for. Everybody's supposed to abide by, right? But you're making concessions for the start. Yep. Okay. So sooner or later, then the next one jumps over here. So you have a coach or a leader, coach, whatever, that starts the athlete to coach relationship really becomes athlete to friend because well, I'm dependent on this guy because he's good, right? But the long term of that happening is not good, because if this is your star over here calling the shots, you're sending the message to everybody over here that's going by is like, that's the rules, but it's not the rules. Mm-hmm. So how do you get people on board?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, coaches are in a tough spot.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, I think coaches are...
How do you build the foundation of a program?
Yeah, I think if that's just the model that you have... I mean, I do feel like every year is a little bit different. I mean, every kid situation is different of why they're not wrestling.
I'm not saying one-offs, but I'm just saying, like, you know, when we had Coach Caldwell in here, like, it was pretty... His conversation with us, which for me was, like, refreshing, is, like, no one's above the team.
Yeah.
Right? And I get the individuals and I get the thing, but if okay, let me say this. If a guy isn't a superstar, but he's in the team, on the team, right? Maybe he's, you know, new, whatever. And he just says, oh, I'm not going to wrestle this week. Are you going to have the same attitude and conversation with that guy or not?
That's true.
So was you trying to build a program? Like I think a lot of that thing gets masked too. Like that happens, but you still win. Okay, that's not really a problem. But, you know, what Coach Mitchell say from Grandview, when they lost to Life University, a lot of things that they got away from what they stood for as core principles inside the program and standards were glaring because you had lost. He said winning covers everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You give anybody a little bit, they're going to take a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, you want, I'm not saying that, you know, there's one-offs everywhere there, but, you know, I would assume you'd want as a program for kids to feel proud about being part of something, like feel accomplished, that they're at a different level than the normal person that walking the halls of school because you're on the wrestling team.
How do you handle a kid that, you know, so say he's a returning state place winner and he just is a little banged up, he could wrestle, say he can't go till January, you know, but this kid over here has been grinding, solid wrestler, gonna score points for you at the state tournament, but this guy in January is going to definitely beat, you know, your starter. You got to get him to wrestle off.
I mean, like, that's a lot of elements thrown into it, right? Like the guy that's banged up, right? What's he doing? So if you're banged up, you're off the mat then, I assume. If you can't wrestle, here's the thing: if you're wrestling in practice, the chances of you getting injured are exponentially higher in practice than they are in competition.
So you're talking about straight up, like if kids are going.
If you're hurt, then you're off the mat. What's your rehab Like, what's your physical therapy? What are you doing to get better? Whatever the injury is, how many times you get therapy? Are you just doing it at practice? It's the first time for the day. Like, are you really wanting to get back on the mat or not? This whole thing about like, well, I've been wrestling, but I'm not going to compete. Or you hear, how many times you hear this? I'm not going to compete because I don't want to get hurt. That's bullshit. Like, how many injuries truly happen at a tournament or competition versus what happens in practice?
Most in practice.
Okay. So I don't think like, oh, I'm hurt. I can practice, but I'm just not. I'm hurt. Like what do you?
Are they going to practice? Okay, so like.
So you you know, I'll use Jake L as an example. Okay, had surgery that Tuesday. I had to get back from nationals. Had his torn labrum. You know, didn't hear Pete from him. Still haven't heard of Pete from him about what happened that Northwestern match. Okay, he had surgery, but guess what? Tom has said this multiple times. Is he's been at he didn't miss a workout. He was there. It was there to the entire end. You know what I mean? You're still showing up. You're still putting time. You got to be a good teammate.
Yeah, be there for each other.
Like you have to have, although it's an individual, quote unquote, individual sport, and a lot of selfishness comes through sometimes. At the end of the day, you've got to have a good team around you and good teammates for you to do well as an individual. You can't do it on your own. Mm-hmm. I think the other thing is on that scenario is how involved are the parents? Like from a hurt is the kid telling the coaches he's hurt, or is he telling the parents? The parents have a conversation. Like that would be a challenge as a coach today. Like you don't want the parents to feel like they're not involved in the program or you know whatever, but the parents can add a lot of. They can align to the program wants to happen, right? Or it can be
align with the kid.
It can be disastrous because a lot of it's jealousy with his own team. A lot of it's making excuses or them putting a crutch for the kid about pushing through hard. You know what I mean? There's so many elements. I don't envy these coaches that have to go through it today, but that's why it's also important to have I think your staff has to be aligned and bulletproof internally, that no matter who comes to you for the conversation, it's the same conversation.
So how do you example, Nolan hasn't wrestled this year.
Yeah, he's
been hurt.
He's wrestled.
He's been hurt, right? So, how do you what's been the approach at Bondurant with him being out? Like
he's been every practice.
But he's
wrestled.
Where do you wrestle?
He's wrestled 8 or 10 matches, I think.
Where do you wrestle at?
He's wrestled the last 3 weeks, I think.
Oh, really? Varsity?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, didn't know that. I didn't know he was back.
Well, I didn't know he was going to be back either. But.
So he's back.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's been all the practices and whatnot?
He better been, unless he's at some girl's house. I don't know.
Hey.
Got a school permit, now.
Oh, boy. Holy cow. So
let's talk about the Waterloo thing. Those other individual matchups. I was really surprised to see that. Did the teams that Nakaborn were supposed to wrestle, did they have 82 pounders or did they just forfeit?
Yeah, so that's a hot topic right now. Ended up being a hot topic on Twitter.
Hot topic like the store or not?
Hotter than hot topic. You see in a lot of duels, people will forfeit to a kid all the time. Outside.
So those count as wins on his career then or not?
They do. Yep.
Freddie forfeit, Daniel forfeit.
Yep. They count as forfeits. They're W's. So I think it was Twitter just took it out. People from Anki took it out of context. Rainey took a picture of Tate. I posted a picture of him. The feeling that you have when you don't have any matches. Well, the previous match of that getting posted, Ankeny had a ranked wrestler. And they bumped away basically from Tate because Tate had, Lindmar had to show up first. And, Nactaborns are upset because the match didn't happen. They wanted him to wrestle. I was just making fun of, him just not having a freaking match all day.
People got their feelings.
So, as from a coaching perspective, it makes sense. From a fan standpoint.
They were trying to win the duel.
Yeah, Ankeny. Absolutely. The coaches are there to win the duel. No matter, the individuals are the individual matches are important, but you stir things around.
They're there to try to win there to make the goal pole.
Absolutely. So at the time, the duel was really, really close. So if you wrestle Tate pins you. There's criteria there.
Could be a 9 or 12 point swing.
It could be a big swing.
Yeah.
So instead, now they just traded points, 6 and 6. So, from a coaching perspective, it made total sense. From the Nactaborns, it sucks because they bumped away, right? They didn't want the match, blah blah blah. So I get that. I get that frustration, and that frustration just boils from the whole day of them not wrestling. So like Ben Keeter, Gabe Arnold, right? No one bumped away from them, but none of their duels really mattered. So those coaches are throwing those kids out there against a Ben Keeter, Gabe Arnold, because the duel is really not in question at the time.
Keeter has lost anyways.
Well, like
that him and I had a conversation.
He hasn't lost.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, he hasn't lost yet, but on my record does. I told him, I said, like, if you don't pin everybody every match, every time you don't pin, it's a loss. You have to do something to try to push the kid. Like,
yeah. What motivates you now?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody's ever done that either. State of Iowa,
undefeated, all pins all
season.
Nope.
I'm sure Jason Bryant maybe can figure that out.
Jeff McGinnis. I don't know. But I think if you could, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I think you compare, Ben Keeter, Gabe Arnold. Like, who wants to wrestle those guys? Like, as a coach, who wants to throw a kid out there, whether he's ranked or not ranked, against those guys? Like, we'll just forfeit, right? It's going to be 6.
But why?
By what? Why would you forfeit
some of those kids, like, you're looking for, like, oh, he's going to... But...
You throw some kid against Ben Keeter and Gabe Arnold that you need for the rest of the season. But
you're going back to that hurt. You're going back to that hurt card.
Not a hurt card. No.
So some of these kids, but honestly, think about the other side. Some of these kids someday maybe will say, "Oh, I wrestled that guy in high school."
Yeah, I see that too, but it also has a huge negative. Like, oh my God, I just got my butt kicked.
Oh yeah, but or if you forfeit, what are you telling the kid? You don't believe in him either.
I agree with that too. That's you see that all the time where you're looking at, like, on Matt's side, and the coach is talking to the kid, talking to this kid, and they're like, we're not going to go with you, we're going to go with him. So he gets bumped out. We're going to bump a kid out lower than me up to there. What's that tell that kid confidence wise? But at the end of the day, like, coach got to put the kid, they got to put the best kids out there.
I mean, Ankeny was, whoever won that duel, the hard part about wrestling. Whoever won that duel made it to the goal pool. So it was probably a more strategic decision on why they did it, to try to win the duel and make it to the goal pool, correct?
Yeah. I mean, Ankeny was going to win it no matter what. But at the time,
don't know that at the time, though.
True, but they were in good shape to at that point.
So they did dodge him.
No, I think they were in a good shape.
What are you calling? Are you dodged him or didn't dodge him?
I'm saying I don't think they dodged him. I think they made a strategic move. I thought the match would have been great to see. They should have wrestled it.
Who's at 82?
Just to have. Last name is. I
knew I'd get you on this.
Yeah, I knew you'd get me on that.
You want to buy a vowel?
B.
Berlin.
Yeah. So, like...
Yeah, I get it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, me personally, I would want my kid to have that big matchup and feel that matchup, right? But at the same time, you're here to win the duel. We're in a duel format.
Yeah, I get it.
Win the duel.
You see a lot of guys, I mean, watch this segue. You ready for it? I mean, you've seen Iowa State had their heavyweight hurt, and Dresser tried to win the duel, and he bumped everybody up.
Yeah.
Listen, he wasn't orange about it.
He was not.
Iowa State, man, they scrapped.
Yeah.
Listen, they right now, as much as I bleed black and gold, right now, majority of the guys in the lineup are trying. They're gritty. They're wrestling hard. Like, whatever those coaches are doing with those guys right now, those guys want to compete hard for the coaches.
Yep.
That's what I see.
Absolutely.
The 25 pounder, that Cabana, how do you say it? Cabana? I mean, I know
Bonbon.
I know the other guy's hurt. Shit, what's his name?
Kyson Terrakina.
I would go with the other guy though.
Kabonbon? Is it Kabonbon?
He competes hard.
I like listening to Cliff Ratwell.
I don't.
And every time. You don't like listening to Cliff?
I mean, he's okay. I text him. I got his ass.
I think he's real. You were texting him. Jason Bryant was always trying to.
I said, when Brooks was clearly pinned last night, when Coleman beat him,
he was pinned.
I mean, I heard him on the call when Ironman was pinned probably by Ryan Jack last year. Remember all the backlash that Iowa and Ironman and that duel with NC State last year at the collegiate duels. I mean, and then I got on him. I said, he said Coleman's caught lightning in a bottle 2 times last 2 days. I'm like, you're discounting the hell out of this guy. I thought Aaron Brooks was going to win the Hodge this year. He just looked so dominant. He kind of just like relaxed in a position, and Coleman kind of hit him with that Ogden freaking funk.
He's close.
And then he held onto the leg. He was pinned. Fucking call the pin.
He was pinned.
So let me ask you this then. That shows you right there the amount of you're the return national, the bias of calling things.
Officials.
If Iowa would have had that if that, let's say Coleman was from Iowa, he was from Iowa, but Russell, Iowa, and Carver, if Brooks just would have got to his back, they would have called a pin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just really surprised me, because Coleman got beat pretty good by Munoz the day before.
I feel like Coleman wrestles better against the better competition.
Munoz is pretty good. I think Brooks relaxed in a position, and then, but good job by Coleman.
Coleman has always been, in my opinion, like, he wins the matches that he's not supposed to. He loses the matches that he's supposed to win. Like,
yeah.
It's like he goes to a different level when he's not supposed to win the match. When he's supposed to win, he just kind of.
What about Pinheiro? Did you watch the Pinheiro Johnson and Yanni match?
Yeah, I was on the fence of Johnson of like, is he a title contender or not? I mean,
he's dangerous right now, but to have all those matches come down to like one exchange, some of those are going to go, especially in a 3-day tournament. I didn't understand, and I'm going to say something else probably controversial. If Yanni was from Iowa, okay, and he went on, screaming after the match, I don't know, what did he yell? I don't remember.
Don't know, but he was fired up.
I mean, all the guys would say that he's racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that
he
was
happened.
Fired up. Like, Yanni, you're going to be you're a world silver medalist. You're all these things. You're going for your 4th title. You beat a freshman. Like, what are you so? He was honestly, in my opinion, he was. I'm not going to say scared, but I mean, people can say Pinheiro evaded the whole time, but Pinheiro had Yanni didn't touch his leg. Mm-hmm. He had his leg up.
Yeah.
Like, you say, he stalled. Good match strategy.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of talk of that. I mean,
I just thought, you saw some vulnerability in Yanni that I didn't think was there.
Yeah. I mean,
questioning himself, I think.
Yeah, you could use I saw a lot of people throwing out excuses of why Yanni didn't, win by more.
They don't compete.
Yeah.
What was the excuses? He didn't touch his leg.
I just saw excuses of just, him not wrestling, him not competing enough, focusing too much on freestyle, blah, blah, blah. Like, people just make excuses.
Well, I've heard, like, I don't know if it's true or not, but, like, I mean, he put a post out today about, it's interesting to see the athletes that compete and what they say. Like, what happened results-wise and kind of what they post. Like, guy loses. He lost.
Were there mentally?
He lost Gomez. Well, because here's the thing. You lose the match, right? You put some on Twitter or Instagram, whatever, and everybody says, "Oh, you're still the champ." So you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm still like what I thought I was." You go on social media for like confirmation, or it's a trap. How do you lose a tournament or to lose a NCAA tournament or state tournament? Kids are posting like they're saying their heart broke, right? But you're posting on social media for what?
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah.
It's a trap. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they want that instant gratification.
No, but most of the time it's on the other side.
I mean,
if it meant that much to you, what the hell you post on Instagram for? Like, I'm not saying Yanni, I'm just saying in general. Mm-hmm. That's not real. Like, all those people are not real in your real life. Like, you got, this many likes or comments. And it goes the other way, guess what happens to the comments? They go the other way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a problem.
Yeah. There's no way you...
No, but that's, in my opinion, I have a teenager son, okay? In my opinion, kids gauge themselves or what people think about them is 100% reflective of what their impact or interaction is on social media.
It makes sense too.
That's not fucking real, though, Tony. It's not real.
But that's what. But they also, like, you're talking right now with athletes, like name, image, and likeness. They're saying it's everything. So like if they're still getting that interaction, they're like, okay, my name, image, and likeness is still going up.
Okay, but let's be honest. But if they're thinking about that, like it does. Listen, at the end of the day, if you want to make name, image, likeness, guess what you got to do?
Win.
Okay, so you got to do.
Yeah. But like if you're not winning, like that's an instant dopamine effect of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm okay.
Or you're going to read all the comments, people talking shit about you. So either way, it's not good.
It's almost like,
that Proctor got annihilated, like assaulted by switching from Alabama from Iowa to Alabama.
I mean, I can only imagine. Like, remember, I don't mean to skip over that situation, but I just try to compare it to like when we were wrestling. You'd have to go to the forums, preps, and they would have a preview, and there would be some forum rat talking about a certain kid and stuff. And now it's on social media. People are tagging you in it, so like you're getting notifications that this person said this about you, or your friend saw it and they're screenshotting it. With the forums, it was kind of like the dirty behind
like the
underground, like people that are just like, that's just where they live and they like to talk shit about kids.
But let me ask you, those people talking about you and tagging you, are they in your everyday life?
No.
If you never
Yeah, but the kids that just isn't.
So most things are driven by, quote unquote, ready for this, trying to prove the haters wrong. Well, then your intentions are wrong to start with.
Yeah, and
so something that you're supposed to enjoy doing, whatever, you're being fueled by trying to prove people that doubt you, that aren't in your everyday life. Like you're carrying way more weight in your head about something. You're basically creating, like you're confirming that you have doubt in your head by listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, not just social media, but KLX, I wrestle, like we are talking about the top 50, top 12, top 15 in every weight class, and we can't mention everybody.
What are you guys talking about that at?
So like, are we articles? But like, people will make comments like we're putting too much pressure on these kids. But
stop.
How do we?
I'm so sick of hearing that.
How do we cover the event? How do we cover the event and not talk about the winners?
When people say that, let me ask you, because I've heard that a lot last couple. So much quote unquote pressure on this kid. Okay, what does that mean? Like, give me your understanding of that. Someone saying
my understanding of how people are interpreting it. I don't feel like we're putting pressure on.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when someone says that to you, what do you think?
When someone says, "Hey, you guys are putting too much pressure on the kids," I could see trying to backpedal of okay.
We talking about 8 years old and under, or are we talking high school kids?
Well, listen, if a yeah, I mean, if you're a 8th grade freshman to high school, like I could, your life is a little bit more sensitive, and your world.
No, what do you mean sensitive? Like, what's pressure to them? Like, when someone says that,
if you're a pressure, if you're top 50 kid and you lose and you're out of the top 50, if you're nationally ranked and you lose and you're out of the national rankings,
that's pressure.
For some, yeah.
So let me ask you this then: the same people that say that to you, if you don't rank him, what do they say?
Why aren't you ranking my kid? Yeah. Why?
So which fucking side do you want to be on?
Yeah. No.
Okay. And listen,
it's really bad when we post anything youth related.
Listen, pressure comes from
expectations.
Well, that comes from in their household.
Yeah.
Like, or people interact with, like, you can say, "Oh, the coaches put too much pressure." That's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Okay, What happens is these parents or families or whatever, they feel like they go to the practice. So financially, they feel like they're so vested in the kid doing well. You got to perform because like we spend so much time doing this, we spend so much money. Like people start making it about them. Like they think it's reflective of them as a parent or their child do you think that's pressure in the real world of going to a tournament? It's a freaking opportunity.
Yeah.
Like even have coverage, like have kids have the coverage they have, or be in the state, like Golden State tournament, like you live the rest of their life, good, bad, or indifferent. Pressure, like,
yeah.
I mean, but the same people say, "Oh, you put a lot of pressure." They wouldn't say that if their kid won, though.
100%. Yeah. No, if your kid, the only.
Hey, guess what? The better you are in things, the higher you go in life, the more "quote unquote" responsibility
in your
or pressure
in everyday life,
or you're making an excuse for somebody that they had a shortfall in life, and now you're trying to deflect. Well, it's so and so's fault because they put so much pressure on her.
I agree.
Fuck that.
No,
take some accountability.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm a big believer in like pressure and responsibility is earned. Like once you get to that certain part, like yeah, we have expectations for you. So like, but you personally earned the right to have people emotionally invested in you to expect, they expect you to not always win, but like you're sure as hell gonna. We want you to try.
Yeah, but that's the trap of the sport. Otherwise, too, though, right? Like the expectation. Like there's no consolation prizes in wrestling.
Zero.
Okay, you can say it's not all about winning, but if you go to a youth tournament, now kindergarten, first grade, all the way up to the state tournament, right?
Yep.
You ask a kid, wrestle this weekend. What's the first thing you do? How'd you do? Okay, so. The sport it is about winning and losing.
Yes, it is.
It Absolutely. Is. People can sugarcoat however they want.
It's an individual sport. Absolutely is.
Performing, you can't say, well, it's not all about winning and losing, it's the process. So many fucking people say that, it drives me crazy. It is about the process. But getting people to play the long in this life when they're just looking right now, it's hard. So, like, and I'm not perfect about this by any means, okay? But I'm getting better. It's like Nolan and I hardly ever talk about wrestling. That's like... You know, and my wife does a great job about it, like with her and him, and kind of like, I don't want it to be, at the end of the day, it's on him. Okay. And you can give your kids all the opportunities they want. And I know they're just kids and you can't, but if you start forcing them to do stuff that they don't want to do, okay, then there is that negative connotation. Like Knox Ayala, for example, right? He loves to ride dirt bikes. And I always make the correlation of saying, you should, for wrestling, like some people say, oh, I got practice. I got to go to practice. Okay. Hopefully the sport and your enjoyment is you have the same enjoyment going to practice. So you go get a dirt bike. Then you're doing, like, that's a really good situation, right? But you can't make them do it.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, like, they're not wanting to, you're forcing them to do something.
Yep.
That's not passion. Even if you have results.
Yep. Yeah, you see that really bad.
Can't be your goals, has to be your kids. Like,
yeah.
And the other thing is how many people I'll say, and this is where the process comes through is, oh, I want to win, I want to be a state champ, or I want to be this or that. Okay, you want this, and this is where I fundamentally as a parent today, like across the board, how many things do our kids really? How many things in our kids' lives? I'm not saying there's not individual cases, one-offs, right? But majority across the board, everyone watching this, whatever, how many of our kids have really had to really work for something in their whole life? I mean, to not get something. Like, let's be honest here. I want something, order from Amazon here 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, how many kids really have worked for something?
Yeah.
So think about that. So now you're asking them to step out and
go get it themselves.
No, do something they've never done before.
Yeah.
Because they've pretty much got what they,
Yeah. That's
like school. Like my kids never come home with homework. Oh, they got to study all day. Like, well, so kids go to college. I said now they have homework, but they don't know how to do it because they've never done it their whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it comes back to like philosophical or whatever, but the application is, you got really the process. Okay, let's look at our lives. How many times our kids really has to quote unquote go through the process to get what they want?
Yeah, we protect them.
Like fundamentally long term.
Yeah, we protect.
No, and we spoil our kids.
We protect them for sure. Yeah, we protect them for sure. Like
it's creating you're asking them to do something that's basically like a fairy tale in the real world they live in every day.
Like Cassius in second grade, second grade, right? Second grade wrestler. Like
Probably a bully in Earlham now, isn't he?
I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't heard.
I bet Sissy is though.
But it's like it's easy to like. I mean, you obviously have lived through it now. No one's in high school, so like I'm.
No, now it's just a hard time.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to balance being a dad, a coach, and figuring out like how hard you push them. Do you want them to lose? You know.
You're talking to Cash's age?
I'm just talking specifically my boy, right? Okay, so instance where he's in second grade, there's duels, the third and fourth grade, fifth and sixth, and he's in second. We needed a 50-pounder. He weighs 46 pounds. So
you shouldn't have put him in, did you?
I put him in the tournament to
wasn't a good experience for him.
Wasn't a good experience for him, but it also opened up his eyes to I can't do certain things in certain situations. So he came back and wrestled on Monday and fixed some of those situations, right? But, you know, am I putting him in a bad situation to be like, I just don't like this sport anymore because I just got my butt kicked?
Well, so did he enjoy the team part of it?
He enjoyed the team part of it. I wasn't there because I was at Battle Waterloo, so, you know, but it sounds like he did okay. Like, the match was over, then he, you know, just went around and played with his friends. Like, that's what it's all about, right? But at the same token, you got to think about, you know, what's the long-term or the short-term effect of him just getting his butt kicked. So I think part of, like, parents' thoughts are, man, I just don't want him to feel that, right? We protect them. That's what we do for parents, you know. So, you know, it was hard for me to put him under the fire there,
especially
but I want him to be...
Especially when you're in there.
I want him to be under the fire there so he can...
Yeah, but psychologically, though, think about this. The age gap in kids, like, especially, like...
Second, third, fourth, yeah.
Like, yeah, the 2-year gap, like, strength-wise and all that, is real.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay?
Most kids that are second graders, in my opinion, this might take, like, probably up to, like, probably 4th, 5th grade. This is my opinion. People probably disagree with it. Asking them to be 12 months around the year committed to wrestling is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just me. Now, maybe other people are like, well, whatever. But you want them at that age fundamentally to get a set of core skills and compete, make it hard, have them, they may lose, whatever. It's probably 8, 10, 12 week season, and then they play baseball. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because so much changes from who won in 3rd grade to who won in 7th grade. And I'm just saying, like, how many kids are hitting, you know, cow catchers or neck wrenches or junk, and they may be stronger, but those kids fall off because at some point that doesn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think on both sides, it's kind of a careful how you do. Like, how many people, well, I want technique to do good, but at the tournament, if they win, it doesn't matter what they do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And why would the kid ever stop doing it? Because it's working and I'm winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, wrestling.
Like Jamo wrestled this weekend. Nikki signed him up. I didn't know he signed him up. And he lost one match, but he wrestled really hard. And I was super proud of him. He wrestled hard. He's hitting double dive, right? Had some good mat return stuff. Just things that he's been doing in practice. So, like, the application is crossing over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't say, you lost, you get your ass in the backseat. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see any of that, but I'll tell you what, youth moms are way more crazy than youth dads.
I debated putting this video up, and I haven't done it yet, but at the Perry tournament, like legit, the mom was out full freaking size mat. The mom was out in the center of the mat with a phone. Like, there's one circle, middle circle. She was out inside that, like, next to, like, just filming and yelling.
As you try to get new people in the sport, as you try to get new people in the sport, you gotta realize a lot of these people have never been exposed to wrestling. Okay.
Yep.
So that's their baby out there wrestling.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be supportive and scream, and like, they're probably in their mind, like, they're just there to support their kid. But as a kid trying to wrestle, you talk about like an emotional overhaul. But the parents not being close to the mat may be emotional overhaul the other way.
Yeah. I
can't leave that cash though. Then showed him.
Yeah. I don't like missing his term. That's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem with iWrestle right now. Streaming events. on the weekends. Missing Cash's events is gonna be
Well, it's just getting harder from here.
so. Yeah, that was tough. But most important thing was, asked Mom was, did he cry on the mat? Did he go off the mat, and was he fine?
Did you shake the coach's hand?
Yeah.
It's a Hager rule, isn't it?
That's a Hager rule.
So what's coming up then for you guys?
So next week is Soldier Salute.
Where's that?
That's
Extreme Arena?
in Extreme Arena.
Smooth Comp?
Girls wrestling. It's on Smooth Comp. So it'll be interesting to see how.
You guys are streaming it though?
No, we're not involved in it.
Who's streaming it?
I think Smooth Comp. Oh, Big Ten Network. Big Ten Network is.
So is it's like a knockoff of the Midlands, kind of?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think.
Why is this called Soldier Salute?
All the funds from the event are going to fund the armed forces, basically. So a certain amount of money is going to go towards.
Is it an open tournament? It's like the Midlands.
Yeah, I think that's what they're kind of billing it as. They're mauling around the Midlands. Yeah.
So it's an open competition then.
Yes. Anyone can enter. Yeah, anyone can enter. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Girls and boys, men and women, whatever.
So what teams are supposed to be there?
Iowa. I've seen UNI. I've seen Iowa State, but I don't know if that's UNI's backups, Iowa State's backups. A lot of like Air Force, Army.
Is Iowa starters wrestling in it?
I believe so.
Okay.
They have to wrestle in it if they want the event to be a success. But I know Drake. I've heard Drake Ayala is going to Midlands.
No, he's going. Some
to other people.
He's going to Salute.
He'll be at the Salute. Okay. Originally he was going to go. Originally he was going to go to Midlands. Is what I heard. So we'll be at the Soldier Salute, and then we've got Winter Nationals out in big youth tournament out in at Ralston Arena AAU tournament. Then we will be at Winger 2 weekends after that. Then you've got regional tournaments for girls wrestling, then girls state, then state duels, districts, state tournament, AAU, Super Pee Wee, Night of Conflict, NCAAs. Every weekend's intense.
So what are you doing? Try to kiss your wife's ass right now? Tell her you're going to be on?
Yes.
It's your job, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So Ed Winger, that'd be a good one.
It's going to be really good. Yeah.
State tournament's what, 6 weeks?
State tournament is
7
February
weeks?
15th, so
4-day tournament?
4-day tournament. Should be a lot more time in between sessions, I believe.
Well, that's not good always. No, I mean, so they'll do the wrestling, like the Wisconsin thing. I mean, I understand the seating part of it by the end, but like even the first, like honestly, there has some decent matches, but till the semis start, pretty chalk across the board.
Yeah.
It sounds bad. It's kind of boring.
That's what the seating does, The seating does create some of that.
It's boring.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're placing out the 8 now. We have been doing that for a while.
It's a true 8 now, though, with the 24, right?
Yeah, it is. So,
what do you think about you and I over Ohio State?
I mean,
WTF's going on in Columbus. And that's not a knock at you and I, but
I thought Iowa State and UNI wrestled really great, and
they competed hard.
Yeah, I mean they're to win the duel. I mean, you look at the other teams, like maybe ducked a few, and everyone UNC didn't wrestle anybody.
Against who?
Penn State.
They didn't.
Well, I don't think they set out a couple kids.
Tony Ramos. Hager said you're ducking, and here's what I'm going to say. Last year, Tony Ramos was
ducking, but they're not going to win.
This zinger. Last year, Tony Ramos was talking about how the ACC, and he's kind of speaking to them, maybe NC State, but ACC was ready to push the envelope to compete with the Big Ten. Then they got beat by App State, and I sent him a text that said, "Let's start worrying about getting top 3 in North Carolina first."
Yeah, no, that's a long ways.
Campbell had a big win over freaking Purdue last night. I thought. Rio Budo, he beat Sasso. Sasso's been on fire since he got beat by Gomez. That was a good win.
Yeah, Rio Budo. Yeah,
I think Sasso's cut some weight.
He got out to that early, got back points right, so it was up early.
Kekai's and Penn headlay.
That was awesome. right? Like a back fall.
He did
That
a
was-
suicide cradle pretty much.
Yeah.
He
it's
hit
not-
him with a kale.
It's not considered a suicide cradle.
Oh, sorry. It's just hey Fretwell. Well,
It's
whatever.
not-
He hit a kale.
I think
Kale does that roll
yeah,
through.
you see that, you're like, oh, it's a suicide cradle. but
Roper
like,
said, notice how he's
What did
only
Roper
up
say?
on the 1 foot.
what did Roper said? What?
He's only up on 1 foot in the when he's pinning him. That's a big detail people miss. He said.
Oh,
I thought Keckeisen, for me, like he wrestled freely. I thought he looked really like at the beginning of the year, a couple matches, like really predictable and like robotic. Like maybe some things were there. He just wrestled. He went for it.
yeah.
Hey, they just beat him a couple weeks ago. Threw him for 5 or 6. So, with Brooks getting beat, I guess give those guys hope and kind of maybe 84 is deeper than people thought.
I think Penn State, though, like after just seeing the duels, like,
What do you mean? Iowa State, if Swiderski's in at 41, it's a 2-point and
I'm talking about just the national tournament.
what about it? Next topic?
Penn State's pretty freaking.
Next topic?
How do you beat Penn State?
Well, okay, I said this, it's on purple to the face, but you don't ever listen, is that having, and this is going to sound bad, having 10 guys, quote unquote, a solid lineup top to bottom, or think you need 10 guys to All-American at the national tournament, it's a thing of the past. Minnesota won in 2001 by having all 10 guys play SK. Look at Penn State, right? They've got 4 to 5 guys in the finals every year. Those 5 guys, like RBY, this is assuming everybody gets to the finals, RBY, then you go up to Srirachi, Brooks, Dean, Kirkville. Those 5 guys, they can win the national tournament, just those 5 guys.
Yeah. I just don't see how they're how they can get beat.
Well, one of the
Can you
big
get beat with
if
5?
one of the-
Can
if
you
one of
win it
the-
with 5 national champions?
Of course. The way the scoring system is in NCAAs, for like a 7th place, if you get 7th place, it's All-American. It's a hard freaking feat. Okay,
Yeah.
you probably you can only get half point in the back without any like bonus points. You make like 2.5 points. Okay, and as first place is like 22. So you need 10 7th place guys add up to 1 champ. So the scoring system really rewards high end. Well, if you're a coach, it's not the Moneyball approach. It's how many blue chippers can you get and rotate in within the thing, within your lineup, right? Facundo's been looking good. That Van Ness has been coming on. So they got these young guys that by the time the other ones start fall off on paper, if they continue their, trajectory, those guys will be in the shoes of like Srirachi and Brooks. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They've got a good formula, and a lot of times, I said this before, like the number of high-level recruits that are going to perform the national tournament consistently or be like more to paper project is easier at 74 through heavyweight than it is 65 and down.
True.
Right?
Yep. No, that's a good
So
point.
that's why like Keeter playing football, he comes back in January, give him a month on that. I think he can All-American next year.
Crazy.
Hey, listen to this. The guy that Keeter was in Keeter's junior world bracket, okay? He won U23s, okay? He wrestled the whole World Cup. Okay? He teched the freaking silver medalist that won in the senior world championships. So, I mean, people are going to argue like, oh, he doesn't. I'm going to tell you right now, if Ben goes, and I said this, I think I was the first one to get on this wagon, by the way. He started 160. Him and Tate had that good match in the finals, right? He's been started at 160. He's a freshman. He's been undefeated state champ. And I'm just talking their body of work in high school. I'm not talking, what do you do in college? He's going to go down as the best high school wrestler in Iowa ever. Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit what anybody says. He started at 160.
Athlete or wrestler straight up? You're saying?
Well, look at his resume. He's a junior world champ.
Yep.
Repeat.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, you said that when he was a 8th grader.
I said he'd be the best
athlete. You said he'd be the best.
I mean, he's got to work on his tackling a little bit in football. I've been telling him about that a little bit.
I mean, I don't follow football very well, but like when Keeter tweets stuff, and then there's people that just hate Iowa, and they're like, "Oh, you're not big enough to play football at Iowa." Like they just send people are creepy as hell, right? Like, sounds like he got real sick and he lost a bunch of weight, so that's why 220. But the balancing that, like getting big, and I don't think there's really a balance there. Like, it just
He's still a baby though. He's a baby still.
What do you mean?
Like
Developmental wise?
Yeah,
Body.
like,
His body.
both. Like he hasn't matured.
That's scary.
What do you mean? It's good for. I mean,
That's scary though. He hasn't though. If that's what you're
for
saying.
who?
Everyone else.
Maybe. I mean, what he does wrestling, like he's so positional. He's just good. He's a good. He is a quote unquote good athlete, right? But I think so many times in wrestling, people discount like, oh, he's just a really good athlete, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is like, I'm not gonna get like specific. It's really sad, not just in the sport, but life, but specifically the sport is. Everybody talks about like, oh, he's a wrestler, he's whatever. When people do well, and then people are like waiting for people to fall.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, I'm.
But why?
Yeah. They don't have anything. Those are the people that are already fallen, and they just want other people to fall.
But why? I mean,
when you're in that situation, then that's all you think about. You think of the negative.
So you can justify like what happened to you or how your situation's done?
I guess.
But there's plenty of like, there's plenty of, what's the one thing? Okay, this can maybe you want to talk about this. What's the one thing like when you face adversity sometimes? Like I called you when you were over at Iowa City. What'd I say? What'd I say?
When I was in
about like this, because you guys weren't doing the stream and Sweet Cup was going on and all these problems. What'd I say? Don't be a hater.
Yeah.
That's like the easy fucking wagon to get on.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Oh, this is wrong. But when it's us that's in those situations and everybody's hating on us, we want like, well, what? You know what I mean? I'm not saying you, but that's what I call normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not, people are like, well, how come the sport can't move forward? I'll tell you why sport can't move forward. Because our mindset's really toxic. Mm-hmm. People just want to, and I'm not talking about you, I'm just saying, in general, people want whatever's going on as long as they're benefiting from it, it's about them.
Yeah.
As soon as it's not, it's like Haterville.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, there was definitely.
I'm not talking, I'm just saying in general, that's what, that doesn't position you as a leader in the sport or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah, we went.
And you did help it and stuff, but I'm just saying overall, why people want people to fall is just crazy to me.
Yeah. No, it's our Facebook page is pretty toxic right now. Like, just you make a post about a kid and then somehow it gets turned into like super negative. It's like,
but why do you engage in that then?
Just delete the post because like people.
No, but don't delete the post.
I know, but it's like people get so. It's just toxic.
But here's why, dude. Okay, go back to like before the internet and social media. Okay, you could have your opinion. You had to get the one register out. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you could read all the articles. Okay, and you may have a different opinion what's going on, but you have to talk to people around you like in real life. Okay, so really your fucking opinion didn't matter outside of people like you interact with on a daily basis, and you have to have real conversations. Mm-hmm. Now I read something and I want to make a comment, whatever skew I want to be a heel, whatever else, and I get people to engage in me. So now all of a sudden you got the whole world that has a quote unquote voice that think they're relevant and their opinion matters in every situation. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's garbage. So people are like, oh, kids these days. It's not kids these days. It's the people raising these kids these days. It's us. Mm-hmm. Like, your kid's not making decisions. Like, what environment you put your kids in and what choices, what you get them and what you don't get them and what your expectations are. That's just you a parent. Yeah. So when you think your kids are failing, well, kids these days, or you try to justify what your kids are doing based around other kids, well, is that the standard you want? Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sucks. It's hard.
Yeah.
But the toxic, it's crazy.
Yeah.
People want to blame everybody else too.
For their losses or for their
shortcomings.
Failures. Yeah.
Hey, when you win, it's all about you. as a athlete, as parent, my kid. But as soon as things don't go wrong, well, that's really so and so's fault. No, it's not. No, it's not. You put them in the right environment. You can't make every choice for them.
Yeah.
Right? Did Jordan Burroughs, did he get up there and say, I didn't really go through a training cycle here. I just came here, for USA Wrestling to be the face of sport because no one else came. And, didn't compete my best. Or did you just say, I got beat? How people deal with adversity or loss or whatever else and take some level of accountability tells a lot about people. What's the thing? Tom Branson said a quote I don't have to find it. Andy Hamilton sends it to me all the time. But it's really good. Hold on 1 second. It's really good about Andy Hamilton. He's 17-time Journalist of the Year. How come you didn't get any Jason Bryant love either?
What do you mean,
The Jason Bryant Awards. They were last week, weren't they?
Oh, National Wrestling Media Awards?
Yeah. You feel slighted about that or not?
No.
Tom Brandon's here's a quote. Anyone can act tough when things are going their way, but a sign of someone who's truly tough is when they can be tough when times are tough. So true.
Andy Hamilton. GOAT.
I don't know, but he's GOAT. As long as he's got a hat on, he's all right.
He doesn't wear hats very often.
He needs to, listen, he's trying to be Tony Rotundo Jr. It's a problem. I said, how about a little bit less behind the camera and a little bit more behind the keyboard?
Yeah, I miss his articles.
You read those articles or do you dictate them?
I write. I like reading Andy Hamilton stuff. He puts them together really well. Miss those.
I'm guilty of, if I see an article, okay, if anything that's of any interest to me, I go right to the quotes. I don't read all the fluff. What so-and-so said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the box score of it.
Yeah. That's just how we consume content, though.
What, you don't read or quotes?
We don't read. We don't want to read. No one wants to read. They want it. They want video form.
7 seconds.
They want
TikTok.
Video form. TikTok go crazy. Going crazy.
What's going crazy about it, though?
We streamed on TikTok the other day, and
What'd you stream?
there's a guy that watched one video. Like, you can see who watches certain stuff. Like, just sit on your phone for 3-4 hours. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, it's nonstop. Like, putting it down. Someone had a 4-hour session on our page.
With or without his clothes on?
That's
Huh?
Stop.
It's sickening, though. That's the dopamine hit for the people.
Yeah.
Like, what are you getting from TikTok? What's cool? How you want to act? Like, I don't understand.
No, I think
don't even
it's
understand TikTok.
it's engaging content.
What do you take from it? Like, what does it add to your life? TikTok.
What does watching the show add to your life?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything. But I'm saying, like, for you to sit on TikTok and just scroll all day, and then people tell you, "Oh, I don't got time to do that." Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. No, it's.
Oh, I don't have time to work out today. Oh, I don't have time to do.
Well, it's social media, and it's.
But you do have time.
You do have time. You just don't want to make.
So
time.
don't say that this is your priority. That this is important to you, because then all your process or your decisions say otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So it's on you.
Yeah.
What are you doing for Christmas?
Christmas. We're in our house, so we're gonna have Christmas Eve at our house with just a family.
What are you cooking? Casey's Pizza?
Chili.
Chili, dude, don't do this to me right now. I'm going to walk off again like I did last time.
You walked off last week.
You know what you said.
I don't know, ham. Yeah. Survivor is like one of the best shows ever.
Dude, stop.
Why did that trigger you? Survivor is amazing.
It's fake.
It's not fake. So you've watched it. So how do you know it's fake? How do you know
I've never watched one episode of Survivor my whole life.
How do you know it's fake?
Dude, stop. It's a produced TV show. The world we live. After you've seen the Twitter.
So what show do you watch then? What show do you watch?
I don't watch shows.
So
I watch.
You watch YouTube.
I watch YouTube.
Yeah.
I watch.
Religiously.
I watch comedy specials on Netflix. They're funny.
That's not a show.
I watch wrestling. I watch hunting. No, but NBC or ABC, whoever owns Survivor, you think that you're really getting the raw cut of it, dude?
Well, yeah, it's
okay. Now here's what we want you to do: action. I wonder who's gonna get voted off this week. I hope it's not so and so.
Hey.
You don't think that they watch?
I love Survivor.
You don't think that they watch and see?
I'm a lifer.
Jeez,
I'm a lifer
stop.
Survivor fan.
You're pirate streaming it though, because I know you don't have fucking cable.
I've got YouTube TV. Yeah, I've got it.
But I know you're pirated it for somewhere.
Dude, I'll admit this, but we used to do fantasy bachelorette shows. I'd sit down and watch
All right,
that.
let's go.
Love me some reality TV
In the
shows.
show right now.
Absolutely.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
I knew that would trigger you. Absolutely. Hey, you put $100 in the pot and you get a couple girls.
Dude, I'm out.
I love triggering this. Are you good? Are you leaving?
I'm not listening to shit.
What? You don't have a show. You can't just leave without a show.
See ya.
What?
Well, I'll hit the button for you. I'm not Bachelorette Fantasy.
Bachelorette fantasy.
Not doing it.
Are you just gonna leave every show like this?
No, but you can't say stupid shit like this to trigger.
It's not stupid. I'm here to trigger you. So you're easily triggered, just like social media.
I can't even stop.
You are. You're absolutely triggered. What's up, Ross?
Tell me what's up.
You're